How's everyone doing today? It's CJ Halleck with CJHalleck.com. And if you're following along, we are in the middle of our walkthroughs of the different elements for the Elementor WordPress page builder plugin. So we've covered the first 5. We're now on to the button element. We're going to go ahead and drag this in, get our new section started so we can actually see our button and get moved forward. So by default, it already has the click here text, doesn't have a link. It's a default alignment set normally to the left. And then the one thing you want to realize is because it aligns to the left, you'll have to, the alignment and the size and everything else will just depend on where it's at. But we're going to go ahead and get started with it. So basically you have the type of buttons, which to me really doesn't matter. It just basically changes the colors. So you can come in and see it just it does a basic color change for the buttons. It doesn't change much else aside from that. So I normally keep everything default and do it all myself. The text, this is something that you want to make sure when you select the words that are going to be the text for your button, that it's not generic. I normally don't like click here. I'll use some other phrases unless you have it, like for instance down here with this button I have a call to action directly in front of it, so click here makes sense. If you don't really have a call to action with it, you may want to include the call to action in the actual text for the button itself, like apply now, or something to that nature about what they're clicking the button for. So we'll do sign up today, right? Just a fun little catch, makes them want to think they're signing up for something, right? So if you're doing a membership site or newsletter or something like that, so which really wouldn't be button for the newsletter, that's in forms, which we'll do in a later video coming up. Based on my list of videos that I still need to do, I may or may not get to that today, but anyways. So next thing is your link. You want to make sure that you put in the entire link for what you're going to, the HTTP or HTTPS. Make sure that you have that find out what that website has. If the website is not secure and you put the HTTPS instead, the visitors may end up seeing a warning when they go through that link, and then it makes you look less trustworthy. So you want to make sure you put in the proper link there. Of course, you can choose the alignment for your button. The only thing with the button that you really want to pay attention with as far as the alignment is using justified will basically put it at a full width of the entire page. And it doesn't have to stay that way. We're going to leave it like that for right now as we go through the rest of this, just so I can show you on the advanced section different ways that you can change the button look and whatnot, as well as with the style here in a minute. So the next thing is the size. That's basically how thick the button is and how big the font is. We'll put it to large. It's decent there. Icon, this will put an icon to the left on the button. So if you do justified, let's just do an arrow. You'll notice here that it puts it all the way over to the left. So if you're going to do justified, unless you like that look, I personally don't. So if I do a justified button, most of the time I'll go ahead and just make sure, there it is, I'll X out, and I don't use any icons when I do justified. So next thing is button ID. You really don't need this. This is something that you can get into it, but I don't want to have to try to explain all that right now. And it's not something that you would really use unless you're making a really in-depth site, and by then you start doing that, you can figure that out without an issue by going to the Elementor.com website and checking out the documentation there. They have really deep documentation for every single thing that you can do on most elements. I know they do on the button and the forms, which is the two big ones. But anyways, next thing is typography. You have normal and hover, so it will change like the text color and background color and stuff when you hover over it. You can also do a hover animation, so you can, if you go over it, the button itself will shrink, or it'll jump up and down, or whatever. There's a lot of different things that you can have it do. That one is totally up to you. I like to try to get a feel for the website and the style of the website. If it's a really playful website, then I'll do some of the fun animations. But if it's a more serious, I may, if I do any animations whatsoever, I think it's Pulse. Nope, that's too much. There was one. It was a very basic. Was it Pop, maybe? Yeah, it's just a very basic thing that lets them see that it's a button. But I would only do that on smaller buttons. The big one, it's too much for me when you do animation on big buttons, the way it's looking right now. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and start. I want to show you some of the customization stuff and how I like to do my buttons so you can make it look a little different than just a basic button. I'll normally do the text color, either the color of the highlights for the website, or like if I have a color scheme I'm trying to stick with, or I'll put it like black, or not black, but like a dark gray or something like that. Okay. And then I'll do the background color. Normally I'll take it from the black and I'll bring it all the way down where it's just a shade darker, visibly almost the same. You can see it's the same color, but it's a little different. And then you can come in border type. I'll normally do solid, and then depending on how I'm doing the site, I may make it thick, I may make it thin. Because I have my logo and it's squared out, this is what I'm going to want to use, right? I'm going to want to have it close to about the same size as this. Of course, you can choose your color. If you want it to be a different color, you can do that. I will go ahead and put this in at the same number. Okay, and then the next thing is your border radius. Now you can come in and you can change this, and if you go up, you can give it kind of a pill look, where it has the, if you will, half circles on the end. You can take it down to 0, which makes it blocked off, which is what I'm going to do. Not that this button's staying up, I'm just going through the elements, but it's something, because my logo has that black, perfectly squared off outline, that's what I would want the button to look like, and then of course you have your padding, where you can actually come in and it basically just shows the padding in between the text and the outside of the button. But we're going to go ahead and just delete that and take it back to default. And then the next thing is going to be advanced. And like I said, when you're working with Justified, it goes to full width. So you'll want to take that off, and we'll do the right side, and we'll add a margin to the right. And normally I'll do right at about 100. When I do it this way, if I'm going to do a center page button, and then I'll come into the left and do the same thing. So that way it's not the full size. It's a little bit, a little bit wider than a normal button, but and of course you can continue to come in here and adjust this. You can make it, 150 and 150 if you want to make the button smaller that way. Or of course you can go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and delete. In this section you just come back and make it a regular button, and it would, if you do it centered, and then you won't have to worry about that if you want it tight to the letters or if you want extra spacing. But since I have that down, now that we got everything designed, have it down to be center, it's showing the regular size button. So I'll show you what it looks like with an icon now. It just adds it right to the left of the text. So with sign up today, you may want to do something with like a pin. Well, here's a pencil. So you may want to do something like that. You want to make sure that the icons match what you're actually putting on the button. So like if you wanted to do, you can do Instagram, and you can put like follow me. And that's something where, if you look at that, you see the Instagram logo, you see the follow me. In your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that's an Instagram link, right? So you want them to understand what it is. But that being said, and of course, coming back down to the rest of the advanced section, the rest of it works is the same. You can check out the earlier versions as we go through the different elements, as well as the basic Elementor walkthrough as I go through the advanced settings in the Elementor sections video to show you guys the basic edits of the in the advanced settings. They're the same on almost every single element, so you won't have a need to have me spend that much time going through every single one. But that is the buttons with the button element for the Elementor WordPress page builder plugin. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please be sure to like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and after you subscribe, be sure to click the bell to get notifications when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for your time. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. Be great, stay boosted, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.